The yen is monopoly money and tourists are everywhere. In March of 2024, Japan welcomed 3,081,600 foreign visitors in just that month, surpassing the previous record set in 2019 before COVID. So a lot of people are asking me, Allison, is now the best time to visit Japan? If you don't know, I live in Tokyo and I've lived in Japan for about 6 years now. And personally, I'll just go ahead and tell you, I think for a large portion of people watching this video, now is a great time to visit Japan, but it's also really bad. I know those are contradictory statements. So let's talk about why I think you should and shouldn't visit Japan. It's more complicated than just a yes or no. So we're not going to organize this into sections of like good reasons and bad reasons. We're just going to talk about it all at once because a lot of the reasons are double-sided. So there's good and there's bad. So let's begin by addressing something. My longest talking point of the video and perhaps one of the biggest turnoffs, is that the appropriate word, to visit Japan right now? Japan is super hot. And I don't just mean in summer, which it is, miserably so. And I don't recommend. See one of my previous videos for more information on that. But it's really, really popular. So looking at this data from the Japan National Tourism Organization, you can see that tourism has been skyrocketing. You don't need a statistics degree to figure this out. Millions more people have been coming each year since like 2013. And there was a break. There was a little dip during COVID, but we're back from that. And I think 2024 is on track to be the most crowded, the most popular, with the highest number of tourists visiting ever in recorded history. I feel really strongly I'm right. And I think that this is for a lot of reasons. So let's go through a few of them. So first, Japan is very popular in the West right now with people like under 40, I'd say, especially. You know, the Pokemon generation, we're all grown up and we have real adult money, except for me because I make Japanese yen, more on that later, haha. But yeah, there's the Western tourists, but actually the highest number, the majority of tourists come from East Asia by far. China, South Korea, Hong Kong, etc. They send millions of people. And tourists from these countries are coming for a wide variety of reasons. A lot are very similar to the West. Japan's popular, they like anime, but they also like shopping. There's other reasons. But end of the day, the number is going up. And then of course, there's the reason that COVID delayed a lot of people's trips. So a lot of people are making like revenge trips to Japan this year. And Japan's prestige as a tourism destination just seems to grow every year. It does not seem to be stopping. Every year, more and more websites are listing Japan on like the top of their world tourism rankings. Like in 2023, I don't know why, but the New York Times ranked Morioka as its second top world-class destination or something, which is very interesting. Like, don't get me wrong, I've been to Morioka. It's like nice, I guess, but it's wow. And I have seen ads for Morioka actually in the station where they're like advertising that. It's kind of funny, but anyways, it's great. Don't get me wrong. It's great for Japan as a country and for Morioka, etc. But that means there's crowds. So all this was to say basically the number one reason why I think you may not want to come right now is it is crowded. There's a lot of tourists, more so than ever. So if you came in 2015, expect twice as many tourists now, not even 10 years later. If you came like 20 years ago, then this is like a totally different tourism scene now. So what this means is that like top destinations like Asakusa, the big shrines in Kyoto, all these places where tourists usually go to are just going to be packed to the brim with people. It also means hotel reservations are going to be harder to get and they're going to be more expensive. And you're going to be competing with more people to go to Skytree or whatever, Team Lab. But I would like to say that most of these tourists who are like clogging up Asakusa and stuff, they usually stay on what we call the golden route of tourism here in Japan. So this is like Tokyo, Kyoto, Nara, Osaka. So if you're gonna be venturing off of this golden route that most tourists take, then I think you're actually gonna be pretty okay. Like, don't get me wrong, there's still tourists at like these other tourist destinations, but it's not gonna be anywhere near the number of like Asakusa. Nothing like that. I mean, it depends when and where you're going, but and I personally think you're gonna definitely enjoy your trip more when you're visiting these more off the beaten path locations or whatever. I mean, don't get me wrong, you can still enjoy your trip if you are planning on going, you know, Tokyo, Kyoto. Just expect a lot of people. The pictures you see on Instagram where there's no one in the street, they're photoshopped or they woke up at like 5 a.m. to take the photo. So all this has led to basically over tourism in a lot of these prime locations like Kyoto. But I would say this increase in crowds is really, really good for these more off the beaten path locations because the tourism infrastructure has been forced to develop, which makes it easier for you to enjoy places like Kanazawa, Sapporo, whatever, as a tourist. So I know what you're thinking, Allison, what if I wait a year or two? Maybe the people will get bored and leave. I don't know. I think you may be waiting a very long time, like more than you'd want to wait. If you want to go to Japan, I think you should just do it. So yeah, like I said, a lot of areas in Japan are suffering from over-tourism, especially Kyoto. It is like a nightmare on the weekends, honestly, like in the tourist central locations. And the problem is these places just cannot handle the amount of tourists that are coming in with their current infrastructure. I mean, you would think the city of Kyoto could have foreseen it and done something about it, but that's for another video. So basically, if this is like a repeat trip for you, you visited Japan 10 years ago, you want to come back, the Kyoto you see today, it's gonna be very, very, very different from the Kyoto of 10 years ago. And this is why I highly encourage you to please go out of the way, check out these more out of the way locations. I don't even mean just like tourist cities like Kanazawa, like go rural, go to Gera Onsen, where I used to live. Because these places, they really want you. Kyoto, you know, they're kind of like, the residents are kind of tired of the tourists. I'm not saying they're gonna be mean to you or anything. That probably won't happen. But if you go to these more out of the way locations, people are gonna go like out of their way to be kind to you. I feel like you're just overall gonna feel more welcome, and it's probably gonna be closer to the like idea of what you want to experience. Because they want you, these rural places, they're desperate for tourists. They just have a hard time of prying people away from the clutches of Fushimi Inari Shrine in Kyoto. Okay, so that was a long talking point, but there's more. Bear with me, watch to the end, we're not done. And with that, let's go to the number one reason why I think you would want to come to Japan very soon. But it's also one of the reasons I think why there's so many tourists here this year too. And that is that the yen is monopoly money. It's garbage, which is really bad for me because I live here and I work here and I make my salary in yen. But for you, it's probably amazing. Depends where you're from, but in general, the yen is weak across the board, and it is just gonna be much cheaper for you to travel here now than it was 10 years ago, even 5 years ago. So the USD, for example, as of today, this recording, is 156 yen to the dollar. In 2019, it was about 110. So that's great. I am poor, but you are rich. And prices have not really changed that much here since pre-COVID. Like things are going up a little bit, but overall, it's definitely gonna be cheaper for you than it was then. Like now you can eat at like a pretty nice restaurant for maybe 15, 20 USD. I'm serious. So yeah, me saying this is probably just gonna bring in more people, but you know, the Bank of Japan should do something about it. I don't know. Capitalize it while you can, guys, because you can really save a lot of money if you wanna go shopping in Japan, especially. It's amazing. You have got to take advantage of the monopoly money, especially because in Japan, we have these like tax-free counters for tourists at the big stores. It's not every store, be careful. But like big Uniqlo's and Don Quijote's, things like that. If you spend like over 5,000 yen, I think, usually you get tax-free, and the tax rate here is 10%. So stonks. Okay, now for a universal positive, kind of. So do you guys remember the Olympics? That kind of happened here in Tokyo. So if you don't, they were supposed to be in 2020. COVID happened. They were delayed a year and the country was still closed. But Japan was banking on a ton of tourists to come during that. Obviously, that did not happen. But preparation for the Olympics starts like 10, 15 years in advance. So all the infrastructure is in place. What I mean by this is now Tokyo is much more tourist friendly. Well, Tokyo especially, but like all of Japan, I guess. So like compared to 10 years ago, there's a lot more English signage. Basically, everything has a sign in English now at train stations. There's a lot more tourism centers. There's just more staff everywhere that speak English, or at least like enough. Because I think there was like some big push for like service workers to learn English for the Olympics. And then there's the tax-free thing. So yay, we can benefit from the Olympics that kind of happened. Kind of sad about the Olympics, but So next, I guess one of the negatives I just kind of want to address because it's like a hot topic online right now is the like tourist tax, which is like saying that a lot of stores in Japan, a lot of places in Japan have started having like a special tourist price compared to locals. So tourists will be charged more. So say they may charge like 2,000 yen for a bowl of ramen to tourists, but 1,000 yen to locals. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I'm just saying I've never seen it. Then again, I'm not going to like Asakusa usually, but like, okay, I'm sure maybe some places that are doing this do exist, but I think it's a very small percentage and it's probably only going to be in these tourist centers. Basically, I just wouldn't worry about it that much. And so what if you end up paying a bit more for some ramen once? I don't know. But maybe in a similar vein, what you do need to note is that hotel prices have gone through the roof, especially in Tokyo. Like a business hotel in Shibuya that would have cost maybe 10,000 yen per night back in 2019. I've seen the price reach like 40,000 on the weekends. I'm not kidding. But usually it's like around 20,000, so at least double. So yeah, this sucks for you, but honestly it sucks more for locals because we're still making the garbage yen rate of money, but it's harder for people who live here to get hotels because there's so many more tourists and they're charging all this money, and yeah. But this is mostly just affecting like Tokyo and central Kyoto, Osaka. But honestly, it's still probably going to be cheaper for you than it was in 2019 because of the yen rate, even with the price increases. So So yeah, okay, I feel like what I said in this video, a lot of it sounds very negative, but please remember that the goal of this video, I'm focusing on what is different now compared to back then and why you may want to visit Japan now or in the foreseeable future, near future. So things that have always been here are still here, like Japanese hospitality, which is amazing, the clean streets, the public transportation that is always on time. All of this is still here. It is all the same. It is all waiting for you, but that's for a different video. I just want to talk about the things that may impact your decision to come with this timing. So in summary, yes, Japan is more crowded than ever. But honestly, if the yen is still this garbage money, I think you should come. Why should you not capitalize on it? I would be if I lived in America still. I'd be on the first plane over here. Are you kidding? And if you are looking to travel to more out of the way places, not on the golden route, then absolutely, yes, this is a perfect time to come to Japan. So if you learned something new or this helped you make a decision at all, please let me know down below in the comments and like the video. And if you're looking for more information about traveling to Japan, or maybe you just want to watch some girl live her life here, subscribe to my channel for more content about traveling in Japan, my life here. I post every week-ish. I work a full-time job, so bear with me. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys back here again soon. Bye!